What is truth? TV podcast. What is truth? Let's take it to the live stream. Weezy. Tell me what is truth? TV podcast. What is truth? Let's take it to the live stream. Weezy.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the What is Truth podcast. This is Weezy's Weekend Wind-Up. How is everyone doing this exquisite Saturday? What's up, George O'Brien? What's up, Roscoe Coltrane? Mariam G. It's true. Happy birthday. Yeah, so I didn't do one last week because I was not feeling good. But we are all good in the neighborhood today. So we will be going over some news clips, and the second part will be on Odysee. So if you want to call in, StreamYard link is pinned in the live chat if you are listening live, or in the description. So check it out. If you haven't subscribed to the Odysee channel, please look for it in the description and follow me there. There we can be a little bit unfiltered, uncensored, uncut. Take that as you wish. And yeah, slaying it away like that. So let's get right to it. The biggest news, some of the biggest news would be Elon Musk Twitter takeover. It had been talked about for a while now that he was thinking about buying it. He had talked about it, and Elon Musk seems to be one of those type of characters that when he says he's going to do something, he does something. And it had been speculated, and a lot of the far lefties, and I say this as someone that, I guess ideologically speaking, I lean towards the left, but I would say left of center. These people on the far left are alien to me. I'm still the same OG. My stances on things haven't changed. I am a free speech absolutist. I am anti-war. These are things that the left used to embrace, but now it's been hijacked by these far lefties that can't define a woman, that want to push for war, that want to cancel people. So these other people claim to be progressives, but in my opinion are 100% regressive. And fight me. If you think I'm wrong, call in to the StreamYard link and debate me and how I'm wrong. But yeah, the far left has gone 100% regressive. There's nothing progressive about their stances these days. But yeah, these people are now crying that Elon Musk has bought Twitter, and it was these same people that were telling people on the opposite end of the spectrum, mostly right-wingers, that if they don't like Twitter's censorship policies, they should just leave. Well, if these people don't like Elon's takeover, they should just leave as well. So, and before we get going, I do have a Twitter. It is Twitter at /WhatIsTruthPod. Link is in the description. Follow me there. Follow for a follow if you holla at your boy. I just mostly post updates. I talk a little shit every now and then, but I'm not much of a Twitterist. But go ahead and we can be friends and share some horse devoirs, hors d'oeuvres in French, and make it happen. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so this happened early this week. Let's see. This is from the New York Post, April 30th, 2022. Title is GOP Lawmakers Celebrate Elon Musk Twitter Takeover. Republican lawmakers lauded outspoken tech entrepreneur Elon Musk's $44 billion Twitter takeover Monday. celebrating the buyout as a win for free speech and democracy.
A win-win for ACB for anti-cyberbullying.
Something similar, right? As soon as I feel comfortable on Twitter and knowing that free speech will be celebrated, Uncle Terrence will be hearing from me. I don't want to test the waters quite yet, so stay tuned. But anyways, and for those that don't know who the hell Uncle Terrence is a cancel culture extraordinaire. All right. Twitter openly censors speech based on political ideologies and makes a mockery of our constitutional liberties, says Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who's also a fraud, tweeted Monday morning. If Elon Musk can turn that around to actually protect free speech and encourage open discourse, Twitter's full potential will be unlocked. Screw you, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a scumbag. Just like any of these politicians, they'll say some things that sound good, but you really look into them, they're all scummy. Every single one of them. People still want to have heroes in this. To each their own is my view on it. Let's see. So yeah, there's Elon Musk taking it, and if you are on Twitter, you probably have noticed Elon making some funny tweets. He tweeted the other day at AOC. You know, AOC was making a jab at him. He replied back, "Oh, don't flirt with me," or something like that. "Don't hit on me, I'm shy." Something along the line. So he's having fun with it, which is cool. My feelings on Elon Musk, I may go into it deeper on the Odysee segment. But they're mixed. I mean, this move about Twitter is awesome, but the whole neural plant brain chips, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. And it seems like a lot of people embracing Elon for the Twitter stuff seem to forgive or forget about that. At the same time, you got to give props where they are due. And it remains to be seen, because this isn't final. This is an agreement. Twitter can back out of the deal. Elon can back out of the deal. And I believe there's a $1 billion penalty for any of the ones that decides to have buyer or seller's remorse. So it's not 100% finalized. It's going to be a few months in the making. And so if he does end up finalizing it and taking it over, if he does truly honor free speech, as he's claiming to do, that's definitely a good sign. And I can't hate on that. Not at all. But you do have to look at the other aspects that he has been implementing as well. Now, shortly after this was announced, we saw that, where's that article? Okay. That the Biden administration rolled out a disinformation board, quote unquote. Some have called it the Ministry of Truth. The Ministry of Truth reference is from Orwell's 1984, a book that I have read 3 times. This week I finished it for the 3rd time. An absolute gem. George Orwell is the author, and he wrote that book in 1947. If you haven't listened or read that book, I would recommend listening to the audiobook. That's what I have done. That's the only way I can consume books these days. Look for Stephen Parker's George Orwell's 1984 audiobook. It's free on YouTube, so check it out. There's no excuse. But read it, even though it was written in 1947. The eerily similarities to what's going on in 2022. So basically a book that talks about a dystopian future. Since it was written in 47, the novel is based of a future in 1984, of how he thought 1984 could look like if these authoritarian regimes take a hold of governments and implement their force at will. It's a work of fiction. However, instead of 1984, you switch the year to 2020, 2022, and that book, for many, seems to be coming to a scary reality. So, in that book, the main character is Winston. Winston works for the Ministry of Truth in that dystopian future. And his job is to change history, change documents to whatever the government wants the narrative to be. And for this disinformation board to be called the Ministry of Truth is pretty stunning, pretty sad, pretty scary. All right, let's get into this article. This article is by MSN, and it is titled Joe Biden's Disinformation Board Likened to Orwell's Ministry of Truth. Conservative politicians and commentators, not just conservative. I'm not conservative. I'm far from conservative. But I guess if they want to paint in broad strokes, by all means. Conservative politicians and commentators are criticizing the Biden administration for creating a new bureau to fight the spread of disinformation online. Several of these critics have compared it unfavorably to the Ministry of Truth, a fictional department in George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984. On Wednesday, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas testified during a budget hearing of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Homeland Security that a disinformation governance board had recently been created to fight the spread of disinformation on the internet. What a coincidence, right? Elon Musk buys Twitter. He's claiming to bring in free speech. Elon has said that he's just trying to make it fair, that everyone gets heard, everyone gets criticized, and it doesn't get skewed or favored for one side while shitting on another side. He is just trying to bring fair and balance to a platform, and the loony left has lost their minds. And a short time after this is official, the Department of Homeland Security announces this. Now, for those that don't remember, the Department of Homeland Security came about shortly after the September 11 attacks in 2001. It was to protect the home front against terrorism and along those lines. But now they added this, the Disinformation Governance Board. What the F is going on here? So we'll get into it on Odysee a little bit more. If this fires you up like it fires me up, hit that StreamYard link. I will be taking calls on Odysee and we can discuss it more in detail there. Got to watch what we say here. We got to self-censor, unfortunately, but on Odysee we will cut loose 100%. All right. During a Thursday press briefing, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki acknowledged the board's existence and noted that President Joe Biden supported it. Psaki said she couldn't provide many details other than saying the Bureau would monitor misinformation on topics such as the current disease floating around and elections. Like the Hunter laptop Biden? A story which was, we now know, this isn't a theory. This isn't a crackpot theory. This has been verified true by several major outlets, that the Hunter laptop story, a story that very well could have changed the election outcome. I am one of the most anti-Trumper people you will ever meet, and I will give you my reasons and facts as to why I feel about Trump. And if you listen to me, you know damn well. But in the spirit of being fair and balanced, that Hunter laptop story definitely shaped the outcome. And it was blocked by Facebook as well as other platforms. If you talked about the story, your account could have been suspended, banned, or blocked. It was actively suppressed. It was passed off as misinformation. And now we know it's true. Same thing with the current disease. If you had posited that you did not agree that it came from a natural origin and that it was probably created in a lab somewhere, that was also deemed a crime and you could lose your accounts as well. And now it can be discussed on platforms as a viable theory as to the origination. So we see this disinformation governance board. Who the hell is the authority onto what is misinformation? This is what is so frustrating, is that we are leaving. It's like we are kids and we need these entities to tell us what is true and what is fiction. Even though many of the things they have told us were fiction have come out to be true. So this is a complete joke. More censorship, and this is being posited by the government. It's a sad time for democracy, in all honesty. Critics say the Bureau is another example of the government trying to police free speech on the internet. This has led some comparisons to 1984's Minister of Truth. The protagonist of Orwell's classic, Winston Smith, works in the ministry as a governmental department that controls information coming from news, entertainment, arts, and education. Smith's role at the ministry is to correct historical records to align with the messaging of Big Brother, the leader symbol of the novel's ruling totalitarian party. All right. Let's see. Yeah. It's scary times. And one of the persons being touted as the person to quote unquote head this disinformation board is this person. Let's hear her in action. Look at her eyes. And yeah, we'll talk about it after. Here we go.
Laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie. It's how you hide a little lie when Rudy Giuliani shared bad intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain. They're laundering disinfo and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice or vote. Oh, information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origin seems slightly less atrocious. Woo.
Holy crap. Oh man. Yeah. So whoa. You look deep in those blue eyes and one can't help but fall in love. Just kidding. JK LOL. The world has gone mad, and yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. That gave my brain herpes, and I don't know what to do right now except take a big ass swig of brew. Kill some of those goddamn herpeses in my brain stems. Ugh, fucking disgusting. What the goddamn. Would you rather listen to that or Uncle Terrence's voice? Ooh, pick your poison. But yeah, it's scary times, all joking aside. But that's where we're at. All right, next topic is So early in the week, I saw this article, a brief note, that a federal informant whistleblower was found dead. And recent reports are saying that there appears to be no foul play. Let's read this article and we will get into the specifics of that. This article is from federalcharges.com. Call for a case review. Just kidding. This is by attorney Jeffrey Nathan. A federal informant and whistleblower who disappeared after he allegedly turned over top secret files about Deutsche Bank was found dead in LA this week, according to local police. The body of Valentin Brokesmith, 46, was found by police in LA on Monday night, right before 7 a.m. Police came across the body at Woodrow Wilson High School in LA. The cause of death has not been disclosed, but toxicology testing and additional examinations are underway. Local police reported to the LA Times that they don't think foul play was involved. While suicide is suspected, this hasn't been confirmed. Brokesmith was last seen in public driving his Mini Cooper on April 6 in LA on Riverside Drive. He was reported missing by his family the next day. While the car was found, Brokesmith was missing for several weeks. Police said this week the man appeared to be living on the street, so he was homeless. The cause of death probably will not be revealed by the medical examiner until summer. All right, he was the son of a Deutsche Bank executive that came across secret documents. So here is a son of a Deutsche Bank executive who is homeless, and he's a whistleblower on these secret documents. This is what made me start scratching my head. Something doesn't sound right. A kid from a wealthy background and deep into some heavy shit is just found dead. All right. A 2019 New York Times profile said that Brokesmith was a son of Bill Brokesmith, an executive at Deutsche Bank who killed himself in 2014. After his father died, Brokesmith accessed his email account and came across hundreds of files about Deutsche Bank. Some of the secret files included financial plans, meeting minutes, presentations, and spreadsheets. Only the people in the inner circle of Deutsche Bank were intended to see those documents. Federal and state law enforcement were looking into the father due to his criminal misconduct allegations. They were also reviewing the bank's years-long relationship with President Donald Trump. We hear about the Clinton body count. This guy seems to be around some bodies himself. The New York Times reported that Brokesmith gave the bank documents to journalists and several companies. One of them was Fusion GPS, which is a research company connected to a dossier about Trump. After Brokesmith met with the FBI in LA, the federal agency let him identify himself as a witness in a federal investigation into criminal wrongdoing. Reporter Scott Stedman tweeted about the man's death this week. Stedman said he was a friend who gave him and other writers important bank documents that showed how it is deeply connected to the Russian government. He added that Brokesmith had a drug problem, and this was confirmed in 2019 New York Times profile. Stedman said he didn't think there was foul play, tweeting that everyone needs to stop with the conspiracy theories about Val. Yeah, let's just stop. Anytime they don't want you to keep digging deeper into things, that's what's usually said. Just stop. It's just conspiracy theories. Just tinfoil hat stuff. Knock it off. Let's see. So you can read the article there. Let's see. This is an interesting thing. Other recent Deutsche Bank employee deaths. Some Deutsche Bank employees who died in recent years include the senior Brokesmith, who was found hanging. Let's see. Calogero Gambino was the bank's senior regulatory lawyer and killed himself in New York City in 2014, same year. Interesting. When he died, Gambino was connected to legal issues related to the bank, allegedly manipulating the LIBOR rate. Tom Bowers was another executive who killed himself in Malibu in November 2019. Bowers was one of several managers at the bank who approved billions of dollars in loans to Donald Trump before he took office. Nothing to see here, folks. The loans were scrutinized after other financial organizations declined Trump's request for the loans because of his bankruptcy history. Interesting stuff. Deutsche Bank has also had connections to the late Ped, Mr. Epstein. This is from the New York Post, April 30, 2022. Deutsche Bank hit with a $150 million penalty over Jeff Epstein ties. $150 million penalty. New York regulators slapped Deutsche Bank with $150 million in penalties over its relationship with the late Ped, Jeff Epstein, officials said Tuesday. The German bank agreed to the fines in a settlement with the State Departments of Financial Services, which found it approved transactions that should have raised red flags in light of Epstein's offender past, including payments to his alleged accomplices, Russian models and other Eastern European women or girls. Despite knowing Mr. Epstein's terrible criminal history, the bank inexcusably failed to detect or prevent millions of dollars of suspicious transactions, the DFS Superintendent Linda Lacewell said in a statement. Regulators also discovered procedural failures, mistakes, and sloppiness in how Deutsche Bank oversaw Epstein's accounts, starting from the very beginning of their relationship in 2013. Deutsche Bank officials knew that Epstein, who allegedly did himself in a Manhattan jail last August, had served prison time for having relations with a minor before the feds accused him of trafficking last year, the DFS said. But the bank nonetheless brought him on as a client without having a reputational risk committee review the relationship, regulators say. When the panel finally placed restrictions on Epstein's accounts, officials said that they weren't communicated to staffers handling them and were misinterpreted in a way that didn't change much about how the accounts were monitored, according to state officials. So there you go. Deutsche Bank has a very, very shady reputation. And this informant, whistleblower, found dead, of course, is going to raise eyebrows. And the guy was homeless and the son of a ex-employee. A lot of things aren't adding up. Will we get the truth? More than likely not. But just an interesting story that may have flown under the radar for some. And so if that did, there you go. There's a story. And since we're talking about Epstein, let's go to our last story before we go to Odysee. So this came out yesterday. This is on the New York Post, dated April 30th, 2022. Judge upholds Ghislaine Maxwell's trafficking conviction. So here's some Maxwell news that, again, probably went under the radar. While everyone's busy talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Turd's Willy Wonka, aka Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about that. This is the only mention I'm going to give it to right now. But it's pretty disappointing how the Maxwell trial went low-key, very quiet. No one talked about it. And yeah, it's bothersome. That's why I purposely didn't want to touch on it. Although I did think that Willy Wonka joke was pretty silly. I had to throw that in. But yeah. All right. Back to the article. A federal judge on Friday upheld Ghislaine Maxwell's trafficking conviction, the top count she was convicted of at trial, but tossed the salad, but tossed 2 of the 3 conspiracy counts against her because they charged the same offense. In an order filed Friday afternoon, Judge Allison Nathan upheld Maxwell's conviction on transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal activity and trafficking of minors, which the disgraced PED, I'm not going to call her a socialite, the disgraced convicted PED faces the harshest penalties for. But Nathan ruled the 3 conspiracy counts Maxwell was convicted of are multiplicitous, and sentencing the convicted trafficker on all of them would violate the Fifth Amendment's double jeopardy clause. Nathan will therefore sentence Maxwell on 1 conspiracy count, count 3, as well as the trafficking and transporting of a minor with the intent to engage in criminal activity counts. She now faces a maximum sentence of 55 years in prison at sentencing, which is slated for June. Let's see. In her order, which was a response to a post-trial motion by Maxwell's legal team to throw out her conviction on all counts, Nathan wrote that the 3 conspiracy counts charged Maxwell for the same overreaching conspiracy that she engaged in with Jeff Epstein for decades. The overreaching conspiracy, which, as the government argued and proved at trial, employed a single playbook to groom and abuse underage girls, constitutes a single conspiracy offense with multiple victims, Nathan wrote. Because the double jeopardy clause blocks judges from issuing the punishments for the same offense, Maxwell will only be sentenced at 1 of the conspiracy accounts, Nathan wrote. Maxwell was convicted on 5 of the 6 counts against her in Manhattan federal court in December. A jury determined she trafficked a number of underage girls for Epstein to abuse them from the 1990s to the early 2000s. 4 victims testified at the trial, sharing horrific details about their abuse at the hands of Epstein, and they had been lured into his orbit by Maxwell. Maxwell is scheduled to be sentenced on June 28. Hopefully she gets 55 years if she's still in prison and not hanging out with Epstein on some island. Who the hell knows these days? It's hard to know what is true and what is fiction. But if it's legit, hopefully she gets those 55 years, and that is months from now. So that concludes some of this week's topics. Again, this is a segment I will be doing when I do not have a guest planned. We will go over some stories. If you have some interesting topics or stories that you find very, very interesting and would like the masses to know, or get it out there to more people, feel free to contact me. You can find me on Twitter, wherever, and send me those articles. And don't send me a bunch of articles though. I'm talking about like real low-key stuff that you would think very important. And we'll see what we can get on. And I'm enjoying this, and we will do them whenever we don't have a guest. I do have some guests coming up, and once they are confirmed, I will let y'all know. And yeah, that's it. So we will catch you guys on Odysee in about 15 minutes. It is 35 after the hour. Let's plan for 15 minutes, 50 minutes after the hour, and we will be on Odysee. Link should be in the live chat. It is in the description if you are catching this on the replay. And much love. We will see you on Odysee. All right, y'all.